I was in the show Hamilton at the time, and I was playing Angelica Schuyler, and it was such a big, I didn't want to have to give that up just to deal with cancer, and I've always come from that mentality of the show must go on, which is not always the best mentality, but it just is what helps me kind of get through. And so I just kept performing.
Hey everybody, I'm Lori Schulweiss.
And I'm Jen Giamma.
And welcome to another episode of Everybody Talks, the podcast where we explore the wide world of wellness. Sometimes we talk to experts, sometimes we just talk to each other, but we're always talking to you. And if you want to watch this episode, go to our YouTube channel right now and watch at Everybody Talks Podcast.
Every week, we discuss topics from nutrition and exercise to mindfulness and self-care.
And today, we are talking to an acclaimed Broadway performer, best known for her starring roles in Hamilton, In the Heights, and Wicked. And she just finished a triumphant turn. And she just finished a triumphant turn starring as Norma Desmond in the Tony Award-winning Sunset Boulevard. As an acclaimed singer-songwriter, she also performs concerts in prestigious venues, including the upcoming Carnegie Hall, across the U.S. and around the world.
In 2019, her life took an unexpected turn when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Facing her diagnosis with bravery and transparency, she's become an inspiring advocate for early detection, resilience, and the power of sharing our vulnerabilities. Today, she continues to captivate audiences with her remarkable talent while passionately using her voice to raise awareness and support others navigating similar challenges. Please welcome our guest today, Mandy Gonzalez.
Mandy, welcome to Everybody Talks. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be with you. Spend the afternoon together.
Exactly. We love that. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I know your performance history, but I don't know some of your history.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start, I guess, at the beginning. So I'm from California. I'm an LA native, like just outside of LA. My whole family's in California. I grew up part of two cultures. So my mother's Jewish American and my father is Mexican American. And so I grew up with a bubby and an abuelita.
Wow.
And I spent most of the weekends with my bubby, who absolutely loved Broadway musicals, especially big torch singers like Judy Garland and Edie Gourmet, and Liza Minnelli was my first concert when I was 8. So I fell in love with Broadway through her, and we would sing together. And she said one day to my mom, Mandy has talent, and we really have to get her into lessons because she's really loud and she might hurt herself. So I started lessons at a very young age. About 7 or 8, I started singing lessons, and the rest is kind of history. It was really my bubby who really found the opportunities for me to perform, and my family was super supportive of me. And then when I was about 19 years old, I stayed at home. I wasn't ready, like a lot of my friends, to go to New York and have that college experience. I always was the kid that was homesick at sleepovers and things like that. So I stayed really close to home. And I went to school at CalArts for a year. And then somebody told me about an open call to be a backup singer for Bette Midler. And I was 19 years old, and I waited in line, and I got the job. And I have never been back to live back in LA. My life took me on a whole other journey, and it gave me the confidence to take that money that I made from that job and to move to Brooklyn and to pursue my dreams. And that's really where I've been ever since. But my true love is performance, live performance, and singing and theater. But I kind of do it all. So I feel like a real Renaissance kind of gal.
That's crazy.
What an inspiring story.
I know. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
That's amazing. Wow.
I think the lesson here, I had a good Jewish grandmother myself, and I think that's the lesson, is always listen to your Jewish grandmother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was funny because my bubby spoke Yiddish, and so, but she only around me, she said certain things, but she would curse a lot in Yiddish in the car, because to go to all the lessons, she would drive me because my parents had 3 kids, and it was like I was the youngest. She'd pick me up with a box of donuts, leave them for my family, and then take me on our journey. And that's where I really found to really love singing, because I would sing with her in the car, but she would curse. She would curse up a storm. And I came back saying all these bad words in Yiddish, and my mom was like, Mom, you can't teach Mandy to do that kind of stuff, And she's like, what do you mean? I didn't do anything. But then, here I am saying these words, and there was nobody else that was teaching them to me.
Well, you know what? If she had to drive you to all the lessons, then she should
deserves
tell
the
you
right.
That's what I
anything she
say. And
wants.
LA traffic is no joke. People cut you
Right.
off and, all that stuff. So
Totally.
she was a true Spitfire.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now that's
Yeah.
such a great story. Wow.
Oh my
Thanks.
God. I love that. All right. So let's fast forward a little bit. I mean, we like to talk about health and people's success journeys. And we talk to a lot of doctors on our podcast, but we don't talk a lot of patients. And so it's nice to hear from your perspective.
Sunset Boulevard, my first performance, it was so crazy because it was actually my 5-year anniversary of being cancer free.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, what a better way. There's no better way to celebrate.
No.
Almost everybody I loved was there. My brother and sister were not there, so they'll get mad if they listen and be like, we weren't there. But everybody I loved was there, and it was such a beautiful way to celebrate life and the ability to keep going through struggle. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. I was diagnosed after my first mammogram. And my doctor had said, you're about that age. Do you want to, would you like to get a mammogram? You can, I guess insurance will cover it. And for some reason I said yes. And it completely saved my life because they found something, and nobody wants to get that call that, they found something. And I remember talking to my mom afterwards, and she had said, well, I have really dense breasts, so you just have dense breasts, and that's what it is. But then when I went back in, thank goodness I had an incredible radiologist, and she found a tumor. And it was early stages, and I'm very happy about that. But because of different reasons, I did have to have full chemotherapy and radiation. And I was in the show Hamilton at the time, and I was playing Angelica Schuyler, and it was such a big... I didn't want to have to give that up just to deal with cancer, and I've always come from that mentality of the show must go on, which is not always the best mentality, but it just is what helps me kind of get through. And so I just kept performing. I had a lot of support from my company, from the management to the cast, and it's kind of what kept me going through that time, to be able to sing. And because I know how to do that. I had promised myself that cancer was going to be a part of my life, but it wasn't going to take all of my life. And so to go through that experience and then to stand back up on a Broadway stage as a lead in one of the biggest shows, Sunset Boulevard, it was such a testament to life and how you just never know. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, but I definitely have learned so much about myself through that process, and have grown a lot.
Now, Mandy, were you how were you feeling, physically feeling when you were performing? Were you undergoing chemo?
It was hard.
Yeah,
It was really hard because when you're going through chemo, for me, everybody's cancer journey is different. And that's why whenever somebody approaches me about their cancer journey, I always just listen. And I tell them, you're going to get through it. But your journey is going to be different than mine. And this is what I can tell you about my journey, is I had days, the first 2 days or 3 days were good after treatment. And then the 4th and 5th day were really hard. So those days I did not go into the show and do things. But with treatment, it's like you have treatment and then it's the same pattern every time, where you have those first 3 days that are good, the second 2 days are bad. So you kind of get into a rhythm, and it helps you kind of tell company management, I can't come to the show at this time. And then early in 2020, the pandemic happened. And then the show was shut down. We couldn't do Broadway for 18 months. And I didn't realize how much I needed to stop and just
Wow.
Get
be
well.
a patient and be in treatment. And because it takes a lot out of you, and I'm a mom, and I have an incredible husband who, held us up through that time, but it takes a lot to go through it. And so I think whatever works for you, you need to do. And for me, it was the thing of it's okay to sit and not do for a little bit, because my healing really began after treatment. I didn't realize that would be, such a big time after everything was done. Like the pandemic and everything, it was like, oh wait, I haven't done any kind of exercises or anything like that to help myself. And so that's when it really, I had the time to really heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, timing is everything,
It
right?
really is.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, you were pretty open about this cancer journey. How important was that for you to kind of be transparent? And do you have any examples of how maybe your sharing of your story impacted you or other people around you?
Yes, I hope that my sharing my story, it helps someone else to say, oh, I guess this can happen to anybody. And I need to go get checked out. And I think sometimes as women, we take care of everybody else first. And we feel selfish for taking that time to go to that appointment. And taking care of yourself in this way only allows you to take care of everybody else. Because I say that cancer is not a me disease, it's a we disease, because it affects everybody in your family. And for me, when I started to go through treatment and I got my genetic testing back, I do not carry the BRCA gene. But I had to fill out everything I knew about everything in my family history.
Wow.
And on my mom's side, I knew a lot more because of they talked about things. Mm-hmm. They went to doctors. But on my father's side, on my Latino side, I did not have any information. And I had to ask a lot of questions. And I felt like I want everybody to know that this affects them. And I've had so many people come up to me and say, like, I never thought about, going to get a mammogram, or I never thought about this, but hearing your story allowed me to go and get some help for myself. And so for me, if anything, that means everything to me. And also going in and using my voice for different things to advocate for within the breast cancer community is really important to raise money because, like BCRF says, research is the reason. And I do believe that there will be a cure for breast cancer, and they've done so much already, and they continue to need our help. And so I feel like if I can help by using my voice to raise funds for a hospital or somebody else that needs help, that's, it's interesting to find your path as you go on in life. But I think in some ways that's just part of my journey. It was meant to be.
Right. And how great that you can use the platform that you have,
Right.
that you're exposed to so many people and that people
Exactly.
will hear your story.
Yeah.
And, it is really interesting. You said that was your first mammogram, right? So
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
another, I think, kind of eye-opening thing for people.
I
They
think
don't
so,
think
too.
like, it's like getting pregnant
Yeah.
your first time having
Right.
sex.
Oh, I know.
That's what I thought of too. I was like, nobody thinks it's like the first.
I mean, you're like,
not in a good
so,
way.
and going to get a mammogram is not fun. It was my
No.
first time having to go on the slab and do all those things. And the
totally.
last thing you're thinking is that, everything is not all going to be okay. And
Yeah.
so even if you're scared, even if you feel those things, it's like, oh gosh, knowledge is so much, gives
Oh
you
my
so much
gosh.
power.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't have found that, I wouldn't be here,
Yeah.
with the way that my specific tumor was growing. So I think that anybody that feels like, well, I'm afraid because this person had it in my family, like it's okay to be afraid. But just know that there are other people there in the next room that are doing all the stuff that are also afraid, and you can do it.
Yeah. No,
Do you feel that's so interesting? So it was the doctor kind of said, "Don't worry about this," and it was the radiologist who said,
Well, my
the
OBGYN,
yeah.
I went in for my yearly visit, and
Yeah.
it wasn't that she didn't say worry about it, but she's like, you don't have a history of breast cancer in your
Yeah,
family.
so don't worry about it.
And so, is this something you want to do? Do you want to go get a mammogram, or do you want to wait? Like, it's up to you. And I was like, no, I think I'm going to do it. And so I say to everyone, ask and just say, I'm going to get a mammogram. Once you're of age, or even before that, I've had so many friends now. When I first was diagnosed, I reached out to my friend Krista Rodriguez, who's also a Broadway actress, and she was diagnosed at 30. And she was really the only person that I knew that had it and I could talk to, and that was a performer, and what is this going to be like? And she sat down with me, and she couldn't have been more lovely and supportive. And she has this incredible blog called Chemo Couture, and it's all about her journey with cancer, and how she just wore all these fabulous scarves and painted her nails and did all these things to help her through it, because everybody has, like I said, everybody has their way of getting through it. And mine was, bright lipstick and wearing hoops, and
I was going to say, those costumes are no joke.
Right,
Those costumes are no joke in Hamilton. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, that corset?
Yes.
Please. It was like, oh goodness. I don't know if I
Yeah.
could ever fit in that again. And that's okay.
I'm going to get to what you wear in Sunset Boulevard and how to keep in
yeah,
shape in
that was a
in
whole
a
other
minute.
thing.
That's a thing.
Yes.
Different topic. Yeah.
Yes.
So you talked about you had chemo and radiation as well.
Yes. I had both.
Did you have a choice as to what treatment plan? Like, did they say to you, okay, the next steps are this? You could choose to do chemo. You could choose. I mean, I guess you always have a choice to do
No.
nothing, but you.
Exactly. I think you always have a choice, but I really trusted the doctor that I eventually went to, and that was also part of my journey, is figuring out to be an advocate for myself within the medical world, because I think so. I'm not from a medical family. My husband, thank goodness, his father is a doctor, so he knows a little bit more about
That's helpful.
having to ask questions. I would say, well, the doctor said this, so that's what I'm going to do. And he was like, well, we can go get a second opinion. And I was like, no, the doctor said this. It's like, it's all that thing of people pleasing. And I'm like, well, what if they don't like me? And it's just crazy thoughts that you have. Like, what if they don't like me? And I want them to, not be mad if I go for a second opinion, and then I want to go back to them. And he goes, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
it's
they're
your
going to
life.
take you back.
Exactly.
They're going to take you.
But I'm so glad I did that, because I was able to find the doctor that I felt the most comfortable with, and with his treatment plan. And, we have been friends since then. Both of my doctors, my surgeon as well, have all come to see me in all of my shows and are so
that's
supportive.
amazing.
And they both love music and theater, so I kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
Whenever I go in, they give me a little bit of extra time, because we chat a little bit about what they've seen on Broadway and things like that. So I feel lucky in that way. But I think becoming an advocate for yourself as a patient is so important. And it's okay if you don't have all the right questions right away. They'll come. They'll come to you.
Absolutely. And just doing your own research and knowing, what you're comfortable with. And
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
I mean,
I was
why
just
would
kind
you?
of like, oh, what? And then, but I knew what felt right. I knew when I walked into a room, if somebody's energy felt like, this is where I feel like I can trust in this person, and so I think that's important. That was important to me.
Yeah. Having sort of that
also feel that.
intuition. Yeah. That intuition
Yeah.
of knowing what's right for you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
It's so important, when dealing with your health. So then let's talk about, like, since all of that, like, how have you healed yourself, like, that you're not worried all the time, or, to help, like, your emotional space to also heal? Because that's part of it too, right?
Absolutely. And I think part of that, one of those things came from my friend Krista, because nobody ever tells you, like, you're cancer free now. And so I told her that. I'm like, well, am I cancer free, like, after the surgery, after chemo, after radiation? Like, when is it? And she said, I just said I'm cancer free after they took it out. Like, and so I said the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's the date. that's my, anniversary. I give a toast to my, myself, my family. We made it. And I think a lot of my healing was physical, but also very like mental and emotional. And I was lucky to connect with an incredible person, Jennifer Finkelstein, who does 5 Under 40. And it's an organization that raises money for women 40 and under that are going through treatment. And she helps you with everything, any kind of question, any time of the day. She will answer your call. And she was the one that introduced me to a woman who became my therapist after this. And, because it was pandemic, I couldn't go and see anybody. So I still haven't met my therapist in person. It's always over Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I needed to talk and about all of the feelings. Because when you're going through it and you're a mom and you want to keep up a brave face for your whole family, but it's okay to release that where in a place that you feel safe. So that was a big part of it, starting to physically work out again and things like that. And I think that was part of my healing. And then another part came from helping other people. Other people reaching out to me in different support groups, helping people that are at the beginning of their journey, and advocating for different platforms. I think that really helped me, because I remember the first talk that I gave, like something like this, talking to you about it. It used to give me real anxiety, and now I freely talk about it. I still, my hands sweat a little bit. But the first time I went and I gave a speech about my journey, I felt so vulnerable and afraid. And now I feel a sense of power every time I talk about it, even more. It's like I'm claiming my story. And I'm helping others by doing it. So I think that's been a really big part of my healing.
Yeah, I think just having that hope, feeling hopeful and getting that message out so other people feel hopeful, and that makes you. I mean, I think that changes your genes. I think that changes your DNA.
Absolutely, and I think it doesn't matter what stage you're diagnosed at. It just is going to change the kind of treatment you have. But there's hope for everybody. And when I was a little bit younger, I guess in my 20s, and my aunt passed away on my father's side from cancer. And at that time, she's somebody on my father's side, a lot of his side did not go to doctors, they came over here, they were very poor, and they didn't trust the medical community. There's a language barrier. And so my Aunt Elvia, she didn't go until she really felt overly painful, because she felt, well, I can deal with it. It's just back pain. And when she went, it was too late. But in some ways, I don't feel like they should have told her it was too late. I still feel like there could have been a little bit of hope. But she, unfortunately, didn't have that kind of doctor, that gave her any kind of hope. And so, not unfortunately, it's just situations, but it's also, I feel like everybody deserves to feel that, and so I think about that a lot. And yeah, she was an incredible person.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that it's one thing to, give the patient the facts and understand like the severity of the situation or the diagnosis, but to also not be so quick to, give them a prognosis of, oh, you have this much time left. I mean, that
Yes.
I think is, to me, I think that's very scary, and it puts you in a different frame of mind where you wouldn't necessarily, be otherwise if you had that
Right.
positive kind of.
And I never thought about it before, but as I'm getting older and I'm meeting so many different people that are going through so many different things, and that's the thing that is always the same, is that there is a need for hope. And whether it's, hey, write your story down or do this or do that, like everybody can find something just to make them feel a little bit better.
I agree.
That's true. I mean, I'm also so grateful times have changed. I mean, breast cancer happens to run in my family, and my dad's family, his mother had breast cancer and died I think a couple of years after I was born. I really never knew her, but they were so poor they couldn't afford the right care, and so she was like in the hospital. They were doing all kinds of like early days of radiation, early days of all these things, and how
Yeah.
I'm so grateful times have changed that,
Yeah, in just a
there's
short
really like
time, there's so
right, it's
much.
not that long, and
Yeah.
so much has
Yeah.
changed in how breast cancer is treated, talked about. I mean, it's like I'll tell you more. My mother passed away from breast cancer when I was a teenager, and
Oh,
she
I'm
never
sorry.
wanted. Thank you. She never wanted anyone to know she had cancer. Like it was in
Right.
the
It was like
70s,
yeah.
and so because she didn't want to be treated any differently. Which now I think that is not the case. It's like you hear about people having all types of cancer, and you just want to like prop them up and what you need, and I'll help
Yeah.
you out. You're not looking at them with any kind of
Judgment. It's
scrutiny
like
or judge
Olivia
judgment.
Munn,
Exactly.
Olivia Munn
Yes,
and
yes. She's a
Jessie
great.
J
Oh
that
my
just came
God.
out, and you know,
Yeah, Olivia Munn is
it's
right out
so
front and center with all of
yeah,
that.
and it's
Yeah.
so brave. And I
Yeah.
always just say thank you so much for sharing your story, because I know that in some way it must be very healing for her, and
I think that's
and she's helping along the way.
so
So
many
it
people.
it's just it's beautiful. But I think that the more people do talk about it and make it feel like it's not something that you did
Yeah.
to yourself, there's no shame, to take the shame away from it, and you find out who your friends are. You find out during that time who are the people are that that are going to be with you through thick and thin, and you find the people that leave. Then they do. The people that don't
They
call
really do.
because
Yeah.
they don't know what to say, and so they never call you again, and you're just kind of like, what happened?
Yeah.
I think that happens with whatever kind of
It's not
thing that
contagious, like,
happens.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Exactly. You're not going to catch it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, totally.
It's not, an energy that I had that made it
Yeah.
happen. It's
Yeah.
like I got my cells got messed up, so I couldn't help it.
It's the unluck of the draw, right?
Right.
Exactly.
I also think as women, particularly with breast cancer, there's a self-image aspect of it too. If you have a mastectomy or you decide to, have reconstructive surgery, all those things. We've talked to other doctors about that. And was there any of that for you as far as like your self-image was concerned? How you kind of, did you have a different perception of your body afterwards?
Yeah, especially as someone who performs and, is essentially in the public eye.
Yes, I think. I had a lumpectomy, so it was a little different for me
Okay.
than some of my friends. But yeah, I was very concerned about it, and I was very. It's a very touchy thing, literally. But it is because what did somebody say to me once? They said, you wait your whole life to get them, and then you spend the rest of your life having other people figure out what's wrong with them, like how they're growing and everything like that. And I remember reading Judy Blume, and we must increase our breasts.
I know.
Yeah, like wanting all those things, and so I think as a woman, you do grow up feeling that they are a part of you and a part of your womanhood and a part of your beauty, and so I think when you realize that can be taken from you and it's going to change how you look, it's very hard. It's a very sad thing, but then you realize, hey, it's this or my life. And to me, it's hard, but hey, see ya.
Yeah. Yep. Good riddance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good riddance. And but yeah, I think that I think about all those things, my girlhood, and I'm lucky that I had that I had those times where I was like, come on, I just want to wear a bra. And I just want him to grow, and my training bra and all those things. And so I'm lucky. They're a part of me, and it's like in a weird way. Does that sound weird? I don't know.
No, not at all.
Sounds
Not at all.
like how we all feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like that thing of, they're like these friends that you have, and so then they're still there, but they they change.
They
You
change,
know,
Yeah.
but they're gonna change anyway. They changed after I had a kid.
I was going to say, wait till you get into
all
your
of it.
50s.
Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
know all of it. It's constantly. It's
all ahead.
It's constant change. Exactly. But my friends that have had surgery, I mean, what they can do now, it's
Oh, it's
it's
incredible.
absolutely incredible, and they look.
Yeah.
All of my friends look just beautiful.
And in such a natural way that, they're able to
Absolutely.
use your own
I
body
agree.
fat and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mandy, are there things that you do now, sort of post-treatment, and you're 6 years out now, right? So are
Yes,
there
thank you.
like routine checkups that you do? Do you do self-exams? All of it?
Yes, I do self-exams all the time, but I do every 6 months I meet with my surgeon and I meet with my oncologist. And I have to have an MRI, or we alternate. So I would have to have an MRI, or I'd have to have a mammogram. And then I have checkups. I try to go, not I try, I go to my yearly checkup with I met the same OBGYN and the same, the doctor that I had at that time. But you gotta stay on it. Nobody's gonna call and say, hey, it's time for 6 months. It's like, no, you have to make sure. And that's something too, like I can't slip up on those kind of things, like where I forget about this appointment or that appointment. It's like I've learned to be when it comes to my health, I have to be there.
Yeah, which is so important, just being
Right.
I know.
proactive and
Yes.
catching things
And that's
early.
my
like,
husband too, is that he
Yeah.
would say, this is your life.
totally.
Very
Yeah.
dramatic, but I'm very dramatic. So but he would be like, this is important. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I have to go to this audition and I have to, and he's like,
Right.
this is your life. And, but it sticks with me, that kind
Yeah,
of statement,
sure,
And it
definitely.
makes me go, oh, right. Yeah.
Have you done anything else differently in terms of like nutrition or exercise? I mean, I know, and we're going to get into this too, about what it takes to be on Broadway and to perform in terms of, keeping your body in a certain condition and all
I mean,
that.
just the stamina of
The stamina alone
of
is
that.
mind-boggling. But are there any new sort of wellness practices that, maybe help to kind of keep you on track?
I would love to say that I am very disciplined when it comes to my fitness and my diet, but I'm not. And I think I'm always improving. I'm always trying to do better. But for me, physical exercise is just part of my life because of what I do and the amount that I have to. I have to perform on stage, especially when I'm in a symphony situation or things like that, like the amount that I have to sing. Um, I couldn't do it if I was not physically able to do that. So I always keep up with that. I try to eat less sweets. I try my hardest to do that, just because you never know. And I try to stay away from processed food as much as I possibly can. I'm learning as I go, just from going to different meetings about new things that they're finding and new things to look out for. So I do try to do that. But you'll catch me at, the ice cream parlor or at a, Five Guys or something like that. Like I really try. But I'm always, like I said, I'm always improving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, talk to us about some of the physicality of what you do, and what does it look like? Like, what does that routine look like leading up to getting on stage, or while you're, while
Right.
you have a run on Broadway? What is it like? Crazy rigorous?
It is.
Yeah.
Very rigorous. I'll
Yeah.
talk about, I guess I'll talk about Norma Desmond. So Norma she does have 3 times where she goes off stage in the first act, but then in the second act she's on stage the entire time, and you're pretty much having a complete meltdown on stage. So you have to, you train a little bit like an athlete. You have to. You physically, you have to make sure that you have the endurance. This show, physically, had been one of my most challenging because in a section I had to do a tango with Tom Francis, who played Joe Gillis.
Which, by the
And-
way, who doesn't want to do a tango with Tom Francis? By the way, is adorable.
I absolutely love working with Tom Francis, and Fabian Alois is the choreographer, and he definitely stretched me to the limit because I've never tangoed before, and I had to pretend, as Norma does. Norma believes that she's the most incredible tango dancer in the world. I mean, she tangoed with Valentino. Why didn't I say that right? Rudolph Valentino. And she's teaching him how to do it. And I'm so lucky that Tom was such an incredible partner, because he was so strong. He could just lift me and like throw me around. He's 25, so it was like woo. But you have to stay very poised and together for me, for my tango. And then in the second act, Fabian had us doing backward somersaults. I never thought I'd do that. After the rehearsals, I honestly could not walk. I had a gig and I had to get on a plane during rehearsal, and I literally like was walking on the runway like limping. Yeah, and my friends were like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Sunset Boulevard. This is what."
You got to
That is-
back up for a
Wait,
second
so
there.
I also have two questions about the whole production in general. And then Jen could ask a question about
Okay.
the somersaults.
I need to, yeah.
So you get this role and you hear the costume, you're barefoot in a costume that's a black slip. And also there's cameras that magnify your face while you're on stage to 3 million times your size. So like every pore is seen. So what
Yes.
is so in my mind, I would run and hide and think like, okay, I have to stop eating. I have to get all kinds of stuff done to my face. Like I have to do all these things. So what goes through your mind when you hear that this is like what is ahead of you? Like how do you approach that?
It's very intimidating and scary, and that's why I think I wanted to do it. you know? And I remember when I was in rehearsals with Tom and with Jamie Lloyd and with the entire creative team, um, they had a camera so that the ensemble, because it is actual camera people and stagehands that are working the cameras, but it's also incredible ensemble members, Shayna being the main one that operates this camera. And she came in from London. And so they're practicing and then they're practicing, but they had a very small screen. And I remember the first day working with the cameras, I looked at the screen and I said, oh, that's very triggering because in my 40s, you're looking at everything and you're like, oh my gosh, like my pores, um, my wrinkles, all of these things. And Jamie just said, and I won't do an accent because I'm terrible at it, but he said, we never look at the camera. We never look at it. And I really took that to heart because I did, it would be like on one of those Zoom calls where I always just delete my little this is even
I know because you're looking at you're looking at yourself here.
like, oh, that was cute, Mandy. Like, or oh, that was, and so in order to become Norma, I had to just believe that somebody was looking at me all the time. And I couldn't let that go while I was on stage. And in some ways that becomes bigger than the camera, and so I never looked at it. I never looked. I just saw what the camera person could see. I just could see myself within that
A
lens.
little, yeah,
Really fun,
yeah.
and I could flirt with the lens.
Totally, which you do magnificently, I might add. You are spectacular
You.
in this role.
But
You
I
really
think I
are.
was able to really let go. I think this is the best work I've ever done, and I'm very proud. And yeah, but that was a very triggering thing to see yourself, just even on a small TV screen. Even when I do work afterwards, like on TV or film, afterwards, it's always edited. There's always like a good angle that they get. It's always something good. And it's always hard for me to watch because I'm so much a live I love live performance. And so it's so hard for me to look and go, oh, but that's how I was feeling at this moment. Or, so yeah, it's very hard for me to watch myself.
Okay, I
Now
need to
go
go
back.
back to the backward somersault. Now,
Oh yeah.
that skill doesn't just come out of nowhere. They don't just say, Mandy, we need you to do a backward somersault and you do it. Like I mean, right?
Oh yeah. I did. Yeah. I did. And first day when I had to rehearse it, I went home and I told my daughter, who was I think 12 at the time, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I have to do 2 backward somersaults every time I'm on," and, she just laughed, like, right in my face.
That's
Like, she was just
crazy.
like, "Ah!" It was like I was back with my brother, like,
Wow.
I can't do this," and she was just like, "Okay," and then she laughed, and then she said, "Okay, mom, let me teach you how to do it," because, she's fearless and she can do those kind she's like, "You wanna turn your head this way so that it doesn't hurt
Oh,
your
that's
neck."
funny.
So we would practice together at home, and, but it really is this moment, and you're with other dancers that are just it's natural for them. They do it. It's like I always felt like I would be doing it, and I would always be like, "Huh," like trying to get back up
I know.
the next now.
Wow.
And they go and they do it together at the same time, and so it was so challenging, but I was really I felt like really fearless in that moment, and I allowed myself to just go.
Yeah, you have to.
Wow.
Hey, if my somersault went this way, the ensemble would help me get back into that straight line, and
Right.
they did
Yeah.
many
Wow.
times.
Wow.
That's awesome. Oh my
That's
gosh.
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, just going back to the filming and the cameras, like when you see it and you're sitting in the audience, you're almost not believing that it's live while it's, like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
skeptical. So I'm like, and then all of a sudden when you realize that it is, and it's really you all, and I mean, you're all subject to it. It makes
Well,
it even more magnificent. I that to me is a feat. I mean, I work on my day job is a live television show, and barely we barely get on the air sometimes. I mean, I work, but it's funny, like things like that, and I look at
it
that
is.
you did that every day, every twice a day, some days, and you're out there stopping traffic. The sound is great. The camera work is great. He's walking down all the narrow, creaky stairs of a Broadway theater, which is like the St. James is one of the oldest theaters that is
Yeah.
there. And it is so crazy to me that is like amazing every time.
But I've seen them go out in the snow, uh, torrential rain, and everybody, it's just like every time. The security team makes sure that the more word spread on the internet about it, we
People
more
wanted to be in there. I know.
and they make sure that nobody jumps in.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's
And
crazy.
the actors are always safe. So I have to give a shout out to that team.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
that's incredible.
Is it sad to let go? Like I know you just recently performed for the last time. Is it hard when you
Yeah,
have to let go of a role like that,
I
especially?
think so. I think that there's a sadness always to when a show ends, when a run ends, because it's become such a big part of your life. But with this, I really felt like it was complete. And I felt like I did everything that I wanted to do with that, with such an incredible team. And so there was a sense of satisfaction and not to bring of it. I truly felt satisfied with that
Yeah.
experience.
What a great feeling. What a great
Amazing.
Mandy,
Yeah,
what is next for you?
Carnegie Hall.
Oh wow.
Wow.
It's all right. Who
She's like,
cares? Yeah.
Yeah, I have been working on this show for the past 3 years, and I had to put it on hold a little bit because of Sunset Boulevard. But I'm so excited that we are going to be debuting Everything I Know, the music of Lin-Manuel Miranda. On September the 20th, and then with the New York Pops at Carnegie Hall on November the 21st. And it is really a celebration of his music and the stories that I want to tell about um, his life and my life and how we have intertwined in so many different ways. And it is a love letter to what he has created. And I'm so glad and I'm so lucky that he said yes when I came up with this idea. And that my brilliant director and writer Dick Scanlon came on board, and my musical director Dan Lipton, and we have been in the studio on those days off creating, and to hear his music live with a 75 to 100 piece orchestra is going to be like nothing anybody's ever experienced. And I can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. Now, you originated the role. I saw In the Heights like 2 or 3 times. That's a little baby Lin-Manuel Miranda, like when that first
Yeah.
came. And so, did you have the feeling that he was like Hamilton was just like not even on the radar, or maybe it was for him, but it really wasn't. Like people were going to see In the Heights, and I know like I brought people to it. Like when I saw it, and then I had a friend coming in from out of town, and I was like, we have to go see this because you knew that it was that show was special. And so, was there any indicate like how did you meet him? I guess is my A question, and B is like did you have any indication like this guy? I mean, he's really a genius, in a lot of ways. I mean, he's the I'm a big Stephen Sondheim person, and so Jen is now out of her depth. Like now, I'm a Broadway baby. I'm such a little Broadway baby, Mandy, that like I'm a little starstruck talking to you. I'm not gonna exactly. I mean, it's like I want to burst out in song,
Please don't.
right now with
Please
you,
don't.
but I'm not going to. But like to me, like he's the Stephen Sondheim of our generation, the way he writes. To me, and I am not the first person to say that. That's not an original thought. But did you have that feeling way back when you met him?
Yes.
Wow.
It was in another show at the time on Broadway, and I got a call that there was a composer, and he was Latino, and he was writing a show, and it was going to be all Latinos. And would you go and meet the creative team in the basement of the drama bookshop? And if you're an actor in New York, you know where the drama bookshop is because it pretty much has any play ever written. And so, but I had no idea there was a basement in the drama bookshop. It's kind of like Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Like,
wow.
There's a basement in the Alamo. Like, what's happening? But there was Lin-Manuel and the entire creative team from In the Heights, and that's where my journey with that show began. And I didn't know what it would be. I just knew that he had this light around him. And it does not surprise me at all that the entire world has connected with him and his music, because that's how we all felt about, that first day of my journey with it started with a reading. They asked me to play the role of Nina Rosario. And a reading is when you go, you're in a rehearsal studio, not in the basement anymore, and you go and you read out of the script. You read all the songs, especially the first day. Nobody knows any of the songs. But Lin-Manuel said, now I know none of you know any of the songs, so I'm just going to sing all of them. And it started, like, looked at Alex Lacamoire, and it was like, lights up by Washington Heights, up at the break of day. And we were just,
wow.
Who is this man, and how can I do this forever?
Right.
I truly feel that way. And, when I think my daughter was about 3 months old when I got the call that he was going to be putting together a concert because he was creating a new album called Hamilton Mixtape. And would I come and sing a song, Say No to This? Would I come and learn this song and sing it at Lincoln Center? And, when you get those kind of calls, yes, but, I was breastfeeding and I didn't have a dress and all these kind of things. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't know. And I had no idea that night was historic, unveiled all of these new songs. And I think it was after that night when they decided as a creative team that it would no longer be Hamilton Mixtape, that it was just going to be Hamilton. And, I went and saw the show. Life happens. I went and saw the show, and I was blown away. I saw the theater, and I said, hey, whenever something opens, and I said it to my dear friend Tommy Kail, I said, whenever there's an opportunity, I would love to be considered. And I was lucky to get that call, and it never happens where it was like, hey, an opening has happened. Would you want to? Oh,
well, and that was a good opening.
Jeez.
Angelica Schuyler is a good opening.
Oh my God.
I just, in my head, I'm talking to you, but in my head, I'm like, look around, I'm like in it. I'm like hearing the whole song. She's like going bonkers right now.
But you have to come to Carnegie Hall.
Well,
Definitely
definitely.
will.
Where your proximity is to Boston, but it is going to be that kind of night where it's sing along and, but also hear things that you didn't realize that he
Yeah.
wrote. Things that he was working on when he was working on something else. Like he just keeps going,
Yeah, he's extraordinary. I mean, I
He
didn't
is
mean to turn this talk
genius.
about him, but I felt like I would be remiss if I didn't ask about him. I mean, I think he's pretty instrumental in, your kind of Broadway career.
And help, but for me, he's a part of my family. The whole creative team and people from that cast of In the Heights really became part of my family. I know all of their families, and that's why it was important for me if we're going to do something with his music, I wanted to be the one to do it because I want to do it right, and I want to I'm very protective of him and of the legacy that he has created.
No, thank you. I think at the time of this airing, I think tickets are already going to be on sale,
tickets
right?
go on sale at Carnegie Hall on August 11th. It's going to be a night that you do not want to miss.
Yeah. We're not going to miss it.
I'm
we're
not
gonna
missing
go,
it.
And the
right?
fact that I'm getting to play Carnegie Hall,
Right.
where my absolute idol, Judy Garland, live at Carnegie Hall, sang that album, the double album, over and over again with my bubby, and the fact that I get to stand on that same stage and sing my dear friend's music, it's a dream come true. And it shows that sometimes when you leap, a net does appear.
Yes. Well, you're definitely proof of that.
Amazing. I mean, and if anyone hasn't heard your voice, I mean, those Andrew Lloyd Webber songs are no joke, and the way you
Thanks.
command the stage, I can only imagine what it will be like.
Oh
at
my
Carnegie
gosh.
Hall.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm so excited for you.
I know. So, well, we love talking with you. Is there anything else you want to add before we?
I think that's about it. Easy to talk to you and even to talk about things that are very sensitive. I appreciate you talking about it because some people feel uncomfortable, and I feel like no, the more we normalize things, the more that we as women gain more power. And so I appreciate you guys letting me have that moment to talk.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
we're glad that we did.
We're glad that we did, and we're all about getting that kind of word out. So thank you so much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it, Mandy Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Take care. So she was adorable.
Oh my God, you're totally
I was a
fangirling.
fangirl to her. I really did. Well, because I love Broadway
I know.
so much.
I know.
That to talk to someone and ask questions
Sure.
that you don't get to ask in a different way, like
Right.
that to hear, like, how do they get out on the street? And
know.
how did it feel when you're wearing a slip the whole
So
time?
funny.
And, like, how does it feel to do this? Like, if I had my life to do over, I would love to come back as a Broadway. And I love Broadway because someone once said to me, like, on TV, people are tiny, and on movies, they're oversized.
Right.
But theater, they're the
who they are.
same.
Yeah.
And you're having an experience with them that no one will ever have again.
So true.
It's in and out.
That's right. And it's never the same twice.
Never the same twice. And that's what I love about it.
What I find fascinating is the preparation
Yeah.
and the physicality of what she does, and how, like, that always impresses me with dancers and singers too. Like, you have to have, that's exhausting.
Yes.
To, she must have good abs.
Yeah, I mean, like, her butt, like, for someone who said that she didn't work out, her arms are sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she looked okay.
She is
She
just
looked great.
She's
And also,
so sweet.
thank her for sharing her story. I can't
Yes.
imagine that you're in the rigors of Hamilton.
Oh my God.
And you are going through chemotherapy. Like, that to me is
It's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see her.
I know. I am too.
So
So
we'll have
go
to
buy
do
tickets.
Yeah.
Carnegie Hall. You know how you get to Carnegie Hall?
How?
Practice.
Ah.
I went to, I wasn't, I didn't play in Carnegie Hall with tuba, but I did go see a tuba concert
Did you?
in Carnegie
Maybe
Hall.
we should keep that to ourselves. I don't know if our listeners want to
Hey,
nerd
you
out
never
with
know. You never know. So I apologize for fangirling a little bit, but it was exciting to me to talk to someone like
No, that
you
was
know?
cool. No, it was fun to watch you talk to her. So, because I'm not a Broadway person,
Yes.
but I mean, I love Broadway, but I'm
Yes.
very limited in
I
my
know.
exposure.
Anyway, so we hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. I'm Lori Schulweis.
And I'm Jen Giamo.
This was Everybody Talks.
Talk to you next time.
Take care.
For more information about our podcast, to learn more about us, or to catch up on all of our episodes, go to our website at everybodytalkspodcast.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Shirley, at Jen Giamo, and at Everybody Talks. And if you want to watch today's episode, go to our YouTube channel at Everybody Talks Podcast.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, join the Everybody Talks community and become an exclusive member of our wellness group. Check out the link in our show notes to learn more.
Don't forget, if you like what you've heard, give us a 5-star rating, write a review, and tell a friend. We're for everybody and everybody. The Everybody Talks podcast is co-created, executive produced, and hosted by us, Lori Schulweis and Jen Giamo. Produced and edited by Station 16.
Our theme song music is written and performed by Jackie Ryle and Aaron Navisi, with additional support from our pups, Oliver, Milo, Murray, and Frankie.
Talk to you next time.